Hi, friends! Join us as we dive into the themes, metaphors, and foreshadowing of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. We are your hosts, Leah,
Sarah,
Tabby,
and whether you're a new viewer or a longtime fan, welcome to Becoming Buffy.
Hey guys, welcome back to Becoming Buffy. Today we're talking about Season 6, Episode 6, All the Way, written by Stephen DeKnight, directed by David Solomon, and it aired October 20th, 2001. Unfortunately, Leah has a sore throat and is not able to join us, so we decided to call up our understudy. In replacement of Leah, we have Andrew with us, my husband, so welcome.
Hello.
Andrew.
what other episode have you been in, Andrew?
This is my first one.
Wait,
I've
really?
never been in an episode before. Yeah.
Wow, we have a Becoming Buffy
Yeah.
virgin.
No. Well, that was your first one, wasn't it? It was.
I thought it was. I thought it wasn't. I thought maybe you've been in a group one.
No, David's been on a few times,
Yeah.
but this is the first one I've been on.
Oh.
I know, and I'm so sorry it's this episode. It was funny because when Leah texted us a couple hours ago and was like, hey, I can't come on, I was like, Tabby and I could do it together, which would be fine. We've done it before. But I was like, Andrew, you want to do it? And he was like, I don't know.
No.
You were a little nervous. And then Gwen, our daughter,
nervous.
actually.
I just have issues changing plans.
That's fair. That's very fair.
Tabby's like, understandable.
Yeah. Introverts unite.
It was funny because our daughter Gwen is the one that actually convinced, or I won't say convinced because I think you're going to do it, but was like encouraging him. She's like, "Oh, Dad, you're going to go on the podcast?" And then she was like,
she knew you needed some hyping up.
She listens to this other podcast where this lady does like a bunch of historical stories and stuff, and she's like, "Oh, Miss Odell had her husband on her podcast. His name is Dave." And
like he'll be just like Miss Odell and Dave.
So Andrew got peer pressured in by our 8-year-old.
That's funny.
So Andrew's like, "Well, which episode is it?" I was like, "Not a great one, but you'll
Better
enjoy
than
it."
Flooded.
So
True.
starting to watch the episode and realizing that it's one of the ones that has like Dawn doing the kleptomania thing.
Mm-hmm.
I was concerned for a second that it might be the one with the scream, but I that's different season.
Yeah,
isn't
he
it?
can't stand Get Out, Get Out, Get Out by him.
And you know what's funny? People don't realize that she says that like at least twice in the series.
Yeah.
I thought it was just that one episode.
No.
She says it. I know. I can picture at least 2 episodes. She says get out, get 3 times. It's not just like she says get out once in another episode.
Okay, well, before we start, Andrew, I'm curious. Like, obviously, Andrew has watched Buffy probably all together.
I think I've seen it through twice. But
Yeah,
it has
and
been a while.
probably more
Sarah's
than
held
that.
a gun to the back of his head. Before
No.
I'm just kidding. Andrew is Mr. Accurate, so if I make jokes, he always has to clarify. No, that's not accurate.
That's accurate.
I told him he has to channel his best Leah impersonation. He's like, I have some massive shoes to fill.
Don't stress him out.
I know. No, it's okay. You can be yourself, Andrew. It's a safe space. Well, but what I was going to ask you is, so I don't know if we've ever talked about it, because obviously Andrew sees me watching all the time. I go to him and talk to him about all the things that I'm going to talk about on the podcast. So he's like roughly understands where we're at in the season and stuff. But do you like Dawn as a character? I've never asked you this before. Oh no, we have our first Dawn hater.
I mean, she has some moments, but there's a lot of just I don't know, cringy parts that they're just hard to watch.
Sure.
And there were a lot of those piled together in this episode.
I'm sorry. I didn't realize that she made you so like uncomfortable. Literally, he was watching the episode and all I kept hearing was and then his like nails clacking against the desk.
all the sign and everything was not just Dawn. Like, I think everyone was being dumb in this episode.
Yeah.
I think the only person I don't have problems with at the end was Tara.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a fair,
Actually,
no,
yes.
not even. No,
What?
I think Tara was being unfair at some parts. Okay, Anya. I'll say Anya. I think she was
interesting.
good throughout.
How is Tara being unfair? Oh, I'm intrigued. Okay.
Well, do we want to get into that now?
Yeah. All right, Andrew, go ahead, lead the episode. Okay, we'll save it for the scenes that we're in. This is our third and last Halloween episode of the series. There's one in every even-numbered season, so I'm kind of sad. The Halloween episodes have generally been my favorites of the season. Like season 2 Halloween episode is one of my comfort episodes to watch. And Fear itself was pretty fun too. This is by far, I think, the weakest out of the three. This episode calls back to both of those episodes several times throughout the episode. I mean, I'm sure everybody else knows which parts I'm talking about, but I think also in talking thematically, it works really well. The Halloween episodes tend to deal with the Scooby's fears a lot. And this season is all about how the Scooby's fears are causing them to be paralyzed and to not move forward into adulthood. And it is the reason why they are the way that they are in this episode. So I thought it was kind of neat to have that all kind of summed up. So in 2023, Vox ranked this episode, number 131 on their worst to best list of all 144 episodes. So this is ranked pretty low down there. Yeah. I did not look up to see what other ones they counted as worst. They say All the Way is easily the weakest of Buffy's semi-annual Halloween episodes. It spends a lot of time on Dawn and her teen angst, which is certainly understandable under the circumstances, but also one of the least developed arcs of season 6. And it wastes a pre-Joan of Arcadia, Amber Tamblyn, who plays Janice. But the scenes of the magic box celebrating Halloween are fun, and Xander's spontaneous declaration that I'm going to marry that girl while he watches Anya do her dance of capitalist superiority is one of that relationship's most sweetly romantic moments. So this episode is kind of a Dawn-centric episode, but also not really. And kind of like what they were saying in this quote, I think it's more of a reflection of the Scoobies and where they're at than of Dawn. And I love that Dawn has a whole storyline that doesn't revolve around her being the key, but Dawn doesn't learn anything. Dawn does not have any sort of arc in this episode. It really is, the episode seems to just use her to kind of contrast the Scoobies and even compare, and also really mainly to just say, hey, Buffy, you're being neglectful, is basically what they used Dawn for. Critically Touched says that the reason this episode was so focused on Dawn was because the primary cast was busy getting ready for the next episode. And while I couldn't find anything to back that up, I actually would not be surprised if this was true, because the next episode is the musical episode, and they had to take vocal lessons on top of having to do dance lessons on top of all the lines they had to learn and everything. So I know that took several weeks, and I would not be surprised if that's a main reason why this is a Dawn-centric episode. All the way. So typically that phrase refers to having sex. In this episode, it can also be used as taking a huge step. So Xander's going all the way with his engagement and impending marriage to Anya. Buffy seems to be contemplating a sexual relationship with Spike. Dawn has her first romantic experience. And then Willow crosses a line and starts controlling people with her magics. So it could refer to that. But I think what it mostly refers to is Season 6 tends to be more upfront with its metaphors. They're not very masked, I guess you could say. There's also the more blatant correlation between vampires biting and turning and then sex. Like, we've known this since the very beginning. Like,
I was about to say,
surprise,
if
innocence.
Any episode that's like very strongly vampires are equivalent to sex in this universe, or the, metaphor is very obvious. This is like the most obvious episode.
Yeah. So they're just making the subtext text in this episode, things we've known since the very beginning of the series, which to me, I'm like, okay, like we didn't need this, because we all know exactly what they're doing. When Angelus bit that hooker in the alleyway, and we're like, okay, we know exactly what's happening right now. I will say I do forgive the show for this, because there's another layer to it that I actually think is very interesting. So what has been the purpose of vampires in the show metaphorically up until this point? To contrast adolescence. So a vampire represents being frozen in time versus a child who is growing and learning and maturing. You have moving forward in life versus being stuck in stasis. So where are the Scoobies now? They're frozen by their fears. That's everything that this episode is. So I think that Dawn not only being used to kind of show Buffy's, maybe possibly neglecting her responsibilities, and then Dawn's acting out. But I also think Dawn expressing a desire to grow up and try new, mature things is a contrast to the Scoobies. And we've seen for a couple of episodes now, Dawn's been the one like, hey, I want to do research, actually taking a more mature route when taking care of Buffy when Buffy comes back, in contrast to Willow and Xander and even Anya and Tara. Dawn has been showing that she wants to pursue older things now. And I think that they're trying to contrast everybody else who's like, hey, okay, actually, I want to go back to childhood. I don't want to actually move on to adulthood. Mark Field points out that this episode serves a structural purpose similar to Bad Eggs, saying Bad Eggs had a strong sexual theme because Buffy was about to have sex with Angel in the very next episode. Similarly, All the Way sets up some similar events in the next few episodes. So, yeah, all in all, it's an interesting episode. I won't say completely interesting. I think it's an important episode in setting up the remainder of this season, but season 6 is hard because it feels like there's not a whole lot happening until you get to episode 7, and then bam, everything happens, and then the show or the season really just takes off. So,
yeah, there was a lot of setup in this episode. Like pretty much every, well, this isn't a spoiler episode, is it?
No, it's not.
But, well, there's a lot of setup.
Honestly, that's how it's kind of felt the past 3 episodes.
Yeah.
I'm kind of done with these setup episodes, which I know like the next one won't be, but the next one is also like, okay, so everything they set up, everything's going to like vomit out. And then we're going to have to deal with those repercussions. So
vomit out. Can you guys tell what Tabby thinks of all the things that are being set up? I think I said this in like season 4 when we got to like the one episode with Parker and Riley and then Veruca. It was like setting up all those things. I was like, well, so this is setting up everything that I hate about this season. So this right here is kind of setting up a lot of the things that I hate about this season.
Now, there are some storylines that are set up in this one I don't hate. I hate for the characters. I don't hate to watch.
Sure. Yeah, that's a good distinction.
But then there are other ones that I just hate all around. So it is a mixed bag.
Yeah, I mean, some of this is setting up like what I think is one of the best moments in the whole show.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's hard. It's been hard, and I know, Andrew, you haven't been here for what we've been talking about for season 6, but it's really difficult to see the show being so hard on Buffy when she just came back from the grave and stuff. And we talked a lot about how the show is not really dealing with mental health at all. It's basically like, you're back, so boom, you have to be an adult. And if you don't feel like being an adult and going and getting a job and all that stuff, then you're in the wrong for that. And it's like there's no nuance and understanding and compassion for where Buffy has been and how long it might take her to get out of that funk.
Alrighty, we start off with the Halloween busyness in the shop. I love that everyone's dressed up as employees. I'm like, that'd be kind of fun to go into like a magic shop and all the employees are dressed up.
And Dawn wasn't dressed up, was she?
Yeah, she's too cool for that.
Yeah,
Anya was an angel, question mark.
Charlie's angel. She was one of Charlie's angels.
Hey, I have not seen the movies though. Okay.
But she's got the Farrah Fawcett hair.
I have not seen the movies. I repeat.
It's not a movie. It's a TV show in the 70s.
I have not seen
I haven't seen it either.
Oh, no.
But I got the reference.
I thought you were talking about the Drew Barrymore version.
No, that's why she's got the Farrah Fawcett hair. It's the feathered look from the 70s. Oh, boy, guys.
I just heard Angel and I was like, okay, I guess there's different types of angels.
I do love how Anya is like, she was made for this. She's in her element. She's rollerblading around. Anya is an extrovert to the T. Like any interaction just fills her with energy, especially with money and then merchandise and stuff. Everybody else is like exhausted, obviously, but she's in her element.
I love how Xander gets like insulted for his pyro costume by a child. I'm like, that's very accurate.
I wrote my notes. This was Leah as a child. I just love how Giles is like Ahab, a little help. I was like, Ahab wasn't a pirate, Giles.
And then Willow sees like she's like ranting and gets mad at this woman for like dressing as a witch. And then a little baby witch. She's like, okay, fine, you can be a witch. That's fine.
Dawn, did you notice they kind of gave her like a little bit of a older look? Like they curled the ends of her hair. They gave her older makeup. I was like, oh, this is the episode where I think it also works well narratively because Dawn can't stay 14 years old forever. Obviously, the
Yeah.
actress is growing up too. And I think that works really well with the way that we're supposed to perceive her as an audience now. Like, we need to see her as older and not just Buffy's little kid sister from last season. So I'm going to take the win.
I kind of feel like this is like a little bit late in the game to start doing that. I just feel like there's one
that's
episode of them
true.
being like, she's a teenager. I'm like, she has looked and acted like a teenager for quite a while.
By the end of season 5, you were like, this girl does not look like originally was supposed to be 12, right?
Yeah.
You're like, no, this is a full-on 15-year-old.
Like, I look at her, I'm like, she's 17. You know, she's not 15. But anyway, I digress. She's supposed to be 15, so it's fine.
I think Michelle Trachtenberg actually is 15 too. So
really?
Mm-hmm.
I thought she was older.
No, she might be 16, but she's no older than 15, 16. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So Anya asks Buffy to bring something downstairs, to which Buffy has PTSD from last episode with the mummy hand.
Yeah, no kidding. I was going to say Mom Tara to the rescue. I'm glad someone is parenting Dawn. And I mean, they made a point several times to show Tara stepping in to be like, hey, you probably shouldn't know about that yet. And then Giles later on and stuff. But Tara's just been a really great friend to Dawn.
Mm-hmm. So Buffy goes downstairs, bumps into Spike, ? I guess. Never knew there was like an entrance from the tunnels.
They keep adding new doorways to this shop.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
you know what?
Oh.
This is not a new thing. They did that in season 1 of Buffy, where it's like Angel will just pop up and he's like, oh yeah, I came from the sewers. And you're like, okay, so everywhere there's an entrance to the sewers.
Wasn't there like an episode a couple of seasons ago where Spike runs into the magic shop with his like trench coat over his head and he's like almost on fire because he had to come through the sunlight? Where was the sewer back then?
Yeah, it's true. Well, then you had the moment last season where they established a side door to the shop, and that was when Giles like whacked the minion who was listening in. Like, they just keep popping in random doors.
So Buffy bumps into him and he's like, hey, I come from the tunnels. I need some more weed stuff to stir in with my blood because it makes it spicier. Okay, I guess. Never heard of him doing that before until now, but sure. Just need a reason for them to bump into each other.
He's a layered character, Tabby. Let him have some growth, okay?
My bad,
he now takes tea leaves in his blood. He's a gentleman now. He's, as close to as human as a vampire can get. Just kidding. That was sarcasm in case anyone was curious or shocked.
I picked up on it.
Okay, thank you, Andrew. Thank you. But did you pick up on the weird tension between Spike and Buffy this scene? Because
Andrew's probably like so confused watching this episode, being like, what have I missed?
Yeah. And I mean, I know we talked about it at the beginning of the episode and stuff, but the last episode, again, had Buffy turning to Spike and alcohol to cope with her sadness. And I think this episode is just kind of continuing that and hinting at something else.
And she also could feel uncomfortable around him in this scene specifically because she was kind of vulnerable around him last episode. So maybe that's where this tension is coming from. Because, getting like really, really drunk in front of somebody and hanging out with them is kind of a weird part of like intimacy. You're like, this feels like a vulnerable thing to be doing around somebody, especially if like you aren't really close with them. You're like, oh, this feels kind of odd. Anyway, he's like, why are you helping here? I thought you didn't like retail. And she's like, well, they said it was a one-time thing. I'm hoping. And she's like, I'd never want to show up here again to work. And then he shows her what Anya needs, which, okay, I guess he knows where everything is down here. Gives it to her. She's like, thank you. Awkward tension. And then he's like, hey, let's go. Or she's like, hey, we need to go like patrolling. And he's like, that's all we like, don't worry about it. And then she leaves.
Well, you missed the whole part where the most important part was feel like a bit of a rough and tumble, which is the innuendo, but she takes it as an innuendo, and he obviously just meant go out and patrol. But again,
did he?
Did he? Yeah,
yeah, true.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like he's pretty obvious when he's trying to come on to Buffy, and I feel like in this he actually was meaning just go out and slay.
Who would ever call going out and patrolling doing a rough and tumble?
Yeah,
that is a very good point.
Phrase. Yeah,
look at me buying into the show's gaslighting of Buffy.
It's put in there on purpose because like Buffy immediately kind of mentions to Giles that she should go patrolling tonight, upstairs. So it's like it kind of cemented itself in the back of her brain where she like the phrasing was there on purpose. And even though nothing's happened between the two, nothing will happen in this episode, like they're planting seeds for Buffy kind of thinking about that with Spike.
That's interesting, Tabs. I didn't think about that with her going up and being like, hey, maybe I should go patrol. Interesting. I didn't even make that comparison.
And she keeps bringing it up. She
she does.
Stop thinking about it.
Well, then, okay, you know what? I'm going to bite my tongue. We'll get there because we're like 2 scenes in. And so in a random neighborhood, there's an old man who's humming, creepy, holding groceries, walks inside his house, and has something on the stove while he was gone? ? Okay.
Interesting fun fact that I came up with. So I didn't come up with
that
it.
I
looked
came
it
up with.
I came up with my own fun fact, guys. I'm that good now.
Just invented. I just thought of this thing.
Yeah, I just invented a fun fact, and we're just going to pretend that it's an actual fact. No, so he's humming "Pop Goes the Weasel," and so I looked it up because I've never actually learned what "Pop Goes the Weasel" means. So in the mid-19th century, this is from Wikipedia, but pop was a well-known slang term for pawning something. And City Road had a well-known pawn establishment in the 1850s. In this Cockney interpretation, weasel is a Cockney rhyming slang for weasel and stoat, meaning coat. Thus, to pop the weasel meant to pawn your coat. However, one author notes that the Cockney rhyming slang weasel and stoat was not used until the 1930s, so after the song would have been written. Another early source says weasel was slang for silver plate cups and dishes or anything of valuable that was pawnable. And then in 1905, the London Globe and New York Times published a story saying that a weasel was a coin purse made of weasel skin that closed with a snap. Now, why is all that important? Because Dawn steals a gold coin. And so it's this idea of, I think they're hinting at Dawn's kleptomania and also like the gold purse and stuff like that. She ends up stealing that gold coin in the shop in this, like at the end of the scene in the magic box. And so I think that Pop Goes a Weasel is supposed to kind of be a bit of a callback, a hint to, or just like a reference to Dawn's theft in this episode.
Look at you for making that up.
And everyone says, wow.
What a good fun fact you made up. I like that.
Yeah. Did it sound believable, guys?
Yeah. So, I mean, the setup is pretty good in this episode. I mean, he's watching kids from inside the window in the kitchen, takes out a knife. Like,
yeah, I believe it. He's creepy. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, he dies in the episode, but like, he could have been creepy.
I know. Honestly, when he died, I was like, oh, he was just making Rice Krispie treats. I was like, this poor man.
Still
and then
pretty kind of weird to invite like teenagers into the house. I don't know.
Maybe he just was trying to be neighborly.
Yeah, just because he got killed doesn't mean he's completely innocent.
Exactly. Thank you, Andrew.
Maybe just not as guilty as we thought.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awful.
Oh, man. Never thought Andrew would agree with me with my like. Oh,
Tabby's like, wow, I never thought Andrew would be the funny one.
Yeah. I thought I'd be the odd man out in this this episode. He's just agreeing with Sarah the entire time. I'm like, where's Leah?
No.
She would get it.
Andrew never agrees with me. It's okay.
Well, sometimes I do.
See, you just agreed right now.
Yep.
Oh, Leah's freaking sending me TikToks. I'm like,
No, Leah, come record now. Let's go.
Anyway, okay. Back at the shop, we have everyone exhausted. Anya is not exhausted. She's actually like exhilarated. She's, full of energy, super
doing
excited.
The dance of capitalistic superiority or whatever. I was like,
yeah,
ooh.
with Dawn.
Ooh.
And then Xander finally gets the courage in a moment of stargazed eyes from a lover and is like, we are engaged. And Anya's face of like, really? Like, you're like, is this finally happening? I'm like, oh, poor girl. She's been waiting for this.
Okay, but before we get to that, I just want to like put in there, like, I sincerely hope that Anya is paying them all for the time they are spending in the magic box right now, especially because Buffy was telling Spike that she was only going to help that one day. And then Anya's like, okay, you're all coming back tomorrow for the like post-holiday clearance. And they all groan. And I was like, oh, so it's actually 2 days? And then, yeah, the last episode, she told Buffy that she was going to take out of Buffy's pay from that honest mistake that Buffy made. And Buffy's like on the verge of losing her house. So like sometimes it feels like the writers are not thinking about how they're making their characters seemingly unlikable when they're not being considerate about Buffy's financial situation, especially because the writers seem to be harping on that quite a bit. So anyway, I just want to say I hope that Anya is paying for them all.
There's moments sprinkled throughout the entire season with different Scoobies where I'm like, I know that the writers aren't trying to make it seem like these people are
they just
Buffy,
forgot,
like kind of going in the red in the house, and like it's like negligence on the writer's part. But like at a certain point, as a viewer, I'm trying to like look at these friends and be like, okay, this has gone to a point where I can't like ignore all of this. So are these characters really that bad? You know?
Yeah,
it's kind of a bummer. Anyway, we're not
most
there
of the
yet.
time, the money jokes with Anya land really well. Like most of the time, I find that very funny. But in the context of Buffy having financial issues, if they didn't think about how that, that element of Anya's character interacts with the main character's struggle, then it can lead to some moments that feel like they missed the mark.
Yeah. And what it does is it makes your character that's doing those things seem insensitive and unfeeling, which that's not the case with Anya. Sometimes she's just unaware, which I guess that could kind of work here. But then I'm like, okay, maybe there need to be boundaries in the friend group where Buffy says, hey, I'm not going to just help you out for free. Like they don't have to be doing this. They're just friends. It's not like it's their store too.
And then we have confirmation in this episode that Giles does, in fact, take off and clean his glasses every time he doesn't want to see something. We've been saying this for seasons, but we've got confirmation.
Yeah. What did you guys think of Willow's reaction to the we're getting married thing? Everyone says congratulations or, oh my gosh. And Willow goes, that's wow. And then that was it.
I think she was just thinking they're really young. She definitely should congratulate them.
I don't know. Everyone seemed unexcited about it. Yeah, I didn't like that. But Willow is just in general is being really self-centered. So I didn't take that as a reference to like her previous relationship with Xander or anything.
Yeah, Willow's just in general selfish. And I mean, she's never been happy for them as a couple. And we had Triangle that entire episode where she was stealing from Anya's shop and was just being antagonistic and actually misusing magic, which we will talk about later, all because the episode was trying to say that she was afraid that Anya was not going to be good to Xander. And it just what happens when you have things like that is you can't forget about it in these little moments where you intentionally have Willow not happy about it. It makes it seem as if Willow's still not okay with Anya, which might be their intention, but it was a weird moment. I don't know. And I'll have more to say about it later.
Yeah.
Before we move on from this scene, I just wanted to point out one of the first incidents where I was super uncomfortable with just most of the stuff that goes on with Dawn in this episode, where when Xander says, I'm going to marry that girl, Buffy thinks that he was talking about Dawn for some reason.
Yeah.
Like, why?
The writing for that just doesn't make any sense. Who else would we be talking about, Buffy?
Yeah, it's obvious. Like, okay, but that's again, maybe it's the writing, or Buffy's just really off. And one of the things that makes me feel like she's off is the fact that she's so unenthused about this engagement, and unenthused to the point that it like never crossed her mind that Xander and Anya, who've been in a relationship for years now, might get married. Like she's just acting very weird.
Yeah, wasn't it in Triangle where she was like crying and saying theirs is a forever love or something, and like in hysterics about the thinking that maybe Anya and Xander were gonna break up or something, and then they didn't. I think I tend to just think that the writing is off in this episode because there's so many moments like that we've already pointed out where it was like, okay, are they not thinking about this, how this is going to work out optically? Are they not thinking about this? And I guess it kind of works. It kind of works in this season, but I can't tell if it's intentionally working or if it's just random. Like it just ended up happening that way, you know, like it's a coincidence. Just because, I mean, again, Willow not being happy with them getting married or not showing a lot of enthusiasm fits completely with how she's felt about them this entire time. But I thought we had gotten past that in Triangle. So it also becomes even more confusing later on when we start talking about her and Tara and their fight because of the metaphor of magic being used as lesbian love in season 4 and season 5, and now magic being used as addiction, and it being kind of the thing that's
transition is confusing.
It's kind of tearing Willow and Tara apart. And so everyone, you're kind of like, wait, is it if we're going to follow that metaphor logically through, if it's magic is tearing them apart and it was supposed to be a symbol of their lesbian love, are you saying that Willow's not actually gay and that she's going back to men? Like, if you're going to follow that all the way through, I know that's not what the show is saying, but yeah, there's just a lot of conflicting messages in this episode and in the season, honestly, overall.
So back at the Summers residence, we have Anya telling Dawn the story of how he proposed, and then Dawn's like, "Oh, can I try the ring?" She's like, "Absolutely not."
Valid.
Giles makes drinks for everyone, which I'm assuming doesn't include Dawn, and then Willow does a spell, which this is one of those moments where I look at myself, I'm like, was this added in afterwards? Do not remember this at all.
No, that's been there the entire time.
Yeah, don't remember that literally at all. Couldn't tell you. But like she does like a spell in front of everyone, decorating the whole living room. And Anya hugs her. Giles watches, of course, because he's like not approving. Which makes more sense because I remember this kind of argument with Tara and her in the kitchen. I just forgot what sparked it. And Tara, I think, I'm now in the back of my brain, I'm thinking, like, what is Andrew mean by, like, Tara being unreasonable at some points in this episode? Is this that moment?
This is it. Yep, this is it.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, so we've had in the previous scene, Willow said, hey, we could just do a Fantasia and have the magic shop clean up itself. And Giles is like, no, that's a terrible idea. And then Willow is like, hey, we're having a party here. I'm going to decorate with magic. And boom, there it goes. And then Tara is like, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't use magic that much. And that only makes sense in the context of saying magic equals addiction, like Sarah was just saying. Because to this point in the episode, the uses of magic that Willow has wanted to do are harmless. Actually, like she pointed out, the cups that will disappear in a few hours are more eco-friendly. Like it's a better thing to do. And I don't understand why Tara is getting so bent out of shape over it at this point.
I think we're supposed to be assuming that she's relying on it chronically, just for like small things, that she can't just do normal day-to-day stuff. But I think if we're choosing this argument or this situation to fight over, we're supposed to kind of like, I guess, trust the fact that like Tara has witnessed stuff prior to this. But this is the first time we've kind of we've seen it be this monotonous and like small that she's using magic for.
Yeah. So I think there is a missing step here. So what I will say does not work is we're missing a conversation between Tara and Willow before this, or between Tara and Giles, or Tara and Xander. So where we start to see Tara's hesitance over the use of magic. So the last time we had any sort of inkling that Tara was uncomfortable with Willow's magic use was in Tough Love in season 5, when they had the argument about Tara's fear that Willow was changing and surpassing her. But then Willow derailed that conversation and made it about Willow's sexuality being a phase. And then Tara gets her mind wiped and that conversation's never brought up again. Before that, there was the whole, when Tara realized that Willow gave Dawn the book to resurrect Joyce. We never see them talk about that conversation either. Then from there, you get to bargaining where all of a sudden Willow's like, hey guys, we're going to resurrect Buffy. And Tara's like, yeah, we definitely should. And you're like, wait a minute. Why is Tara suddenly on board with resurrecting Buffy? Or at least not the one that's like, hey, let's think about this. Xander's the one that does that. And then after that, you have Spike find out that Willow resurrected Buffy and he gets upset. And so he says magic always has a cost, always has a price. And then he tells that to Anya and Xander brings up to Tara and says, hey, like what was that with Willow and stuff like that? And he's like, do you think that maybe Willow had different reasons for trying to resurrect Buffy or whatever? I don't remember the specifics of that conversation. But Tara goes, oh, no. Willow would never want to do anything to harm anybody and all that stuff. And then the conversation between Giles and Willow 2 episodes ago where Giles calls her a rank, arrogant amateur that is meddling with things that she has no idea about the consequences. So this conversation here, it strongly implies that Tara and Giles had a conversation about this, or Willow went to Tara and told her what Giles told her and was angry about it. And Tara was like, hey, I actually see a valid point that Giles has brought up. I've actually also seen some stuff too. But since we haven't had these conversations, it's making Tara seem a little bit inconsistent in what she deems to be magic abuse. I think Willow's perfectly consistent, but I think Tara is a little bit iffy. And we haven't actually seen any of these conversations between Willow and Tara about magic use that hasn't been cut short or derailed. So All Things Philosophical says the gist of Tara's argument here is that the more Willow uses magic to accomplish everyday things, the greater the chances there are that there might be negative consequences. Magic is powerful and has side effects, even if done correctly. It is something that should be used carefully and reserved for occasions when crucial ends justify the powerful means employed. So basically, Tara's saying, I sense that you're not using magic thoughtfully. What the show is saying is that Willow is trying to find the easy way out of things. And they're using it as a metaphor for adulthood. In like the past couple episodes, we had the trio introduced, and the trio was shown to use magic and various other means to rob banks, to do other things. And they specifically say, hey, isn't this so great when we can get magic and get ahead in life by using easy means? Like, we don't have to do hard things. Isn't this great? And so the show is using all of this to show that the Scoobies don't want to do the hard work of becoming adults. They want to find the easy way out. And so the show's condemning that.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a conversation missing, and one that would point out better either the aspect that there are risks to doing magic and it needs to be taken seriously, or developing that concept of like Willow's using magic to avoid something valuable, like growing up, or making the case that just doing the hard stuff is valuable. I think there's plenty of hard stuff to do in adulthood or life, and decorating for a party isn't one of those things that has major consequences to skip. So like, if they would have pointed out that there's a potential slippery slope there, that would have been one thing. But Tara seemed concerned about the party decorations in and of themselves. And I did not follow. It's
murky because we don't know where the line is, because we've seen magic used for seasons now. And we had Giles in the Dark Age, like where there was the whole addiction territory that was brought up. But Willow has been using, and if we're going to go by Tara's definition here, and abusing magic for a while now, because we have Triangle where Willow goes and like makes the entire cash register disappear, and the entire episode is all about like Willow and Tara abusing magic in a way because they try to run a spell, and then there's Olaf and everything. So I think that it's a little weird for them to be like, oh, hey, this is excessive, when we've seen Willow actually like do worse stuff at this point.
I think if we just had one other situation before this one, it would feel a lot more natural. But I mean, even in their argument, I think we're supposed to kind of believe that there's been other small stuff, because even Willow says, you're always coming down on me for doing magic that couldn't harm a fly.
And we're like, when?
So we're supposed to kind of just believe it, I guess.
Yeah.
Back in the living room, we have Buffy hugging Xander, and then this is the first moment we kind of get like the hint that Buffy kind of feels like she's almost comparing her life to Xander and Anya's in this moment, and just kind of maybe feels like left behind, or like her life is, I don't know, I feel like she's feeling the void of having a boyfriend right now or having somebody to kind of distract her, which I think is maybe going to bring her to go hang out with Spike later on because she feels a little bit better around him right now.
I could see that. Buffy's feeling like people are moving on without her and she feels stuck.
Well, she also mentioned like what else has changed since I've been gone. So I feel like she also feels a little bit behind because she was gone for 6 months. You know, small thing by being dead. So I think that she maybe feels like, I think this is just a very complex emotional moment in her life. And she's like allowing this positive thing that's happening with Xander and Anya to kind of like almost compare it to her own in like a negative light in that moment, which isn't like correct to do. So I think like, I don't know. I see lots of complexities in her unhealthy state right here.
There's a scene that coming up where they make a very subtle nod to Angel. And I think Angel is all over this episode with, you know, the comparisons between Dawn's first kiss with a vampire and stuff. And so I think the idea is that Buffy feels depressed for a lot of reasons, but one of the reasons is the life that she wants, she's never going to have. And so she's watching Xander and Anya have this thing and she's happy for them. I'm not saying she isn't, but I think there's a little bit of like pain in remembering that. But I think there's also, they're trying to highlight Buffy's lonely. Buffy feels empty. She's looking for a connection right now. She doesn't feel like she can rely on any of her friends because she doesn't want to put that emotional burden of what happened and her actually being from heaven on them. And so this is all leading to her going, that's why she seeks out Spike. Again, she's seeking some sort of connection and some sort of intimacy with someone because she has no one, at least in her mind at this point.
Well, I mean, even like there's that moment where she's like feels like she's like catching up on stuff, but then also right after that, Dawn is like, "All right, I'm leaving to go hang out with Janice," and she has that moment of like not wanting her to go. But I think again, it's like kind of one of those things where she's like, "Oh, she's never done this before. She's never like left in the evening time to go hang out with Janice, and should I let her go?" Like, there's lots of that like. She's like trying to get there where everyone else is, but she feels like she's not there yet.
And I think she's also just tired. She just isn't like, there's almost this like, I just don't want to because it's just work. But I just want to point out Giles, you know, standing firm on his boundaries. She's like, I don't know, Giles, should I let Dawn go out? And Giles like, it's really not up to me. And I was like, yeah, Giles. He's like, I'm not her parent.
That was good. That was a good call on Giles' part. But he could also help a little bit more and say, hey, Buffy, I realize this is the first time that you've let your teenage sister go out on her own. So normally what you do in this situation is you call over to the other friend's parent and confirm that they actually made it there.
Totally.
Because she's walking by herself too.
And that's something that we have pointed out too, is that Giles is like, he wants to help, but then he's also like, you need to do it on your own. So he just opts to just stand back and let her do everything, like pass or fail on her own. And it's like, well, there's a happy medium where you can also guide too.
I just never pulled anything like that, but knowing mom and dad, they would not call to confirm, so I could have, but I never did because I was just such a good kid.
You were really good, Tabby.
Actually was. I never did anything. I was too scared to.
Andrew snuck out of the house so many times. I'm just kidding.
I could not see that at all. Literally not at all. I did not believe it for a second.
I sped quite a bit trying to get back to the house before, you know, whatever time it was I was supposed to be back by.
I just remember that story you told me about how you cleaned out your car so you could take a girl somewhere and didn't tell your parents, and then your dad saw you cleaning out your car and was instantly like, hey, wait a minute. What is going on? You never clean out your car.
I'm dead. Yep. I'm sure she appreciated it wherever she is now.
Oh, I don't think you even got that far.
No, yeah.
Well, yeah. you enjoyed the clean car.
Yes, I enjoyed the clean car.
Your dad's like, oh, just for me? Thanks, Andrew. Where are we going?
All right, so Dawn's walking in the streets by herself. And
with
then
the most self-satisfied smile on her face.
Oh, yeah. And as soon as she gets into an alleyway, we're like, okay, so she's obviously not going to Janice's house. And then we bump into Janice, who is Tabby from Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. She's so young.
Yeah, this is hilarious because this is the only time Janice appears in the series, but she was mentioned before in Shadow, and she will be mentioned 4 more times in the show.
And then she's like, oh, like we're meeting these two boys at the park. They go to the park. One of them is named Justin, which is the one that's into Dawn. And the other one is Zach. These are just perfect F-boy names if I were to ever name. Maybe one of them would be named Josh and the other one...
Josh. Yep.
Chad is too accurate. So
Too
maybe
on the nose.
I'd do Josh and I would do... J names are just always good. So maybe Josh and Justin's fine.
Justin was a good 90s name. What, Andrew?
You're going to hear from some of your fans. You're going to get some complaints.
That's okay. They know with that name. They
I
probably
highly
heard it.
doubt there are any Joshes or Justins listening to our podcast.
All right. If there are any Joshes
I'd
or
love to know.
Justins, you're entered in a raffle.
Yeah, please let us know. Give us hope that there are, Josh and Justins out there who, are decent. Okay, so this is interesting. Again, we talked all about like the
just cringing already, just thinking about it.
There are lots of decent Joshes and Justins out there. Just so you know.
That's all he's gonna say.
I can vouch for
nothing else.
Some of them.
I clearly have not seen the TikTok trend where it's like every girl has been like
victimized by a J name.
Victimized by a J name.
Well, okay.
All I gotta say, it is just there has to be some science between that because J names really just are the statistics behind the type of men.
I think especially in the 90s and early 2000s, J names were really popular. There were a lot of popular names that were J, that began with Jane. So I think that's where a lot of it's come from.
Okay, it's called cold reading, and it's where you make a statement that sounds like it's really specific, but it's actually, it covers a huge
there
population.
Are a lot of J names.
There are a lot of J names.
Yeah.
So if you walk up to a girl and say, you've probably been hurt by somebody with a J name before, like, oh, how'd you know? There are a lot of J names.
You're right.
There are a lot of jerks out there.
We apologize to anybody out there. We did not mean that. It was a joke. But Andrew had to come in and ruin our fun.
I'm looking out.
Andrew's like, actually.
Yeah, actually. Just his glasses.
Yeah, glasses.
Okay, but what I was trying to say is...
I also like people who wear glasses. I'm not trying to make fun of people.
Oh my gosh. Andrew's like, why do your podcasts take so long? Now he knows.
Hey, I don't mind. Now I'm hanging out with you while you're doing your podcast, so it's fine. I'm not down here by myself. Just waiting for you
Next
to come
week,
back.
Andrew's going to be like, hey... Can I come out and be like, oh, sorry, Timothy, there's too many people. Okay, so this scene real fast. So the thing is, a lot of like Dawn's character development, if you can call it that, in this episode is done, and not just in this episode, but in the previous season, is done to mirror things that Buffy's already done because Dawn was supposed to be a representation of Buffy herself. And Critically Touched says, the problem isn't that this episode features Dawn, but rather that it doesn't do much of anything with Dawn in the process. Since a large chunk of the episode focuses on her, the end result isn't all that great. I like Dawn, but it's episodes like this that show me why I don't even love her as much as I do other characters, because the writers just rarely give her the attention she needs to fully flourish as a character of her own. And I love Dawn, but I have to agree with this. I think that like if you don't like Dawn, this is going to be a hard episode for you to watch because there isn't much of anything that happens with her character. And I think, again, because they established Dawn's character last season as more of a metaphorical role, I think the writers have fallen into this pitfall where they're like, oh, we've already established Dawn as a character. We don't need to flesh her out anymore because we already had a whole season with her. And that's just untrue because all she was basically a mirror for Buffy. And it makes it frustrating.
But even like they didn't move Dawn anywhere, yes, but they also didn't start with who Dawn is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Dawn is supposed to be the Slayer's sister. Like she should know better than this. And everything she does in this episode, except not being completely shocked that vampires exist, could be the exact same thing that any other random Sunnydale citizen does in any other episode.
This moment in the playground, these these kids that were hanging out with Justin and whatever the other guy's name is, and then they leave, they're like, hey, we'll see you guys later. They were some of the people that came out of the cars later on in the cemetery. So they're all vampires too, which I didn't catch until I saw the script.
Yeah, I didn't catch that.
Yeah. So they're all supposed to be kind of like, the whole point is them playing at the playground. It's supposed to show adolescence in contrast to adulthood. So Dawn and Janice thinking they're so grown up, but these guys are actually vampires stuck in childhood and obviously encouraging them to do bad things, which is supposed to be a mirror to what Buffy is doing by going to Spike's crypt and even in reminiscing about her childhood relationship with Angel here. Obviously, again, we all know that Angel was more than that for her, but I think it's really interesting that they're showing that as Dawn's going to hang out with
say that
these...
again? Sorry, interrupting you. I must have misheard you very badly right there.
The whole thing again, or what part? To quote my favorite movie, you threw off my groove.
Just like mid-monologue.
Andrew, do you know how we read Sarah J. Maas and you ask a question and literally the next line I read answers your question? Maybe
I was okay. Andrew is, if anything, thorough.
I thought you said
him and Catherine are so similar to like that. It's actually crazy. Like some of the stuff you're doing, I'm like, this is literally Catherine. Like you guys are so thorough. Like I'm like breaking down. Like usually like Sarah and Leah will let me just kind of like move past certain things. Andrew and Catherine have just stopped.
He's like, I'm gonna stop you right here. And you're like, no, I don't even remember what I was talking about.
I was like, just let me continue through.
But no, I thought you said something about this is calling back to Buffy's childhood relationship with Angel.
Yeah.
Is that what you meant to say?
Well, now I feel insecure, so maybe not.
He's making you double down on it. He's like, yeah, this is where you're wrong. That is
no. Okay. All right. So here's the thing. We all know that Angel was more than just that to Buffy, but there is an interesting shift in the later seasons, in seasons 5, 6, mostly 6 and 7, where the show kind of tries to reframe the Buffy and Angel relationship as simply just a relationship, metaphorically, that Buffy had as a child, that it was a childhood relationship of Buffy's. And so they're using like Buffy reminiscing about Angel, like when in this next scene with Anya and Xander, and then all of the callbacks to Dawn and all that stuff. They're trying to say that Buffy is stuck in childhood right now. She's thinking about Angel. She's reminiscing about all this stuff instead of moving on to the next thing. And one of the ways that they're showing that is her going to meet with Spike in the crypt and stuff. And they're like, oh, look, she's just repeating past patterns, past habits, things that she should have left behind in childhood. And so they're mirroring that with Dawn also hanging out with vampires and doing all that other stuff. Does that make sense?
Andrew's face.
just framing Buffy's relationship with Angel as a childhood relationship does not sound good.
I totally agree. But that's a lot of what this episode is trying to do. And the episode even hinted back at that in Flooded, I think it was 2 episodes ago, where Giles is like, hey, Buffy, let's go over these bills. Let's learn how to like take care of things. Like, let's find a way to earn money and all this other stuff like that. And Buffy is just like sitting there overwhelmed. And then the phone rings and then it's Angel calling. And Giles goes, okay, cool. You're going to go hang out with Angel after we do all these bills. And Buffy's like, no, now. And she takes off and leaves. And Giles is sitting there like, oh, and the episode's trying to frame it as Buffy's stuck in the past. Buffy is like not moving forward into adulthood. She's repeating past habits and patterns and stuff like that. But we all know that that's not correct because her relationship with Angel was not that at all. And then also the whole him being her soulmate. And then on top of that, the show just not doing a very good job with giving Buffy space to heal from her mental health and stuff. So there's a conflict and a clashing of metaphors and how they're trying to reframe things in this episode that doesn't quite work. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay. No, I agree with what you're saying. And I think that makes sense of how the show is framing it.
I think you could also, I think that's what the show is trying to say, but I think you could also, and how I view it as Buffy's just hurting, Buffy's lonely, and Buffy wants someone who she can talk to and listen to. And so when she's thinking of Angel in this episode, I choose to see it as Buffy just needs a friend. Buffy just, she desires a life that's normal. She desires a life that she wanted to have so long ago. And I don't see it as her being stuck in the past. I see it as her just like really struggling right now. And that's where the show's not dealing with mental health really starts to bite it in the butt.
Yeah, unfortunately, like there are moments where I have internally a pause, like how Andrew is, but like we have to keep moving in some of these episodes. Otherwise, I'm sitting here being like, this really doesn't make any sense from how they're painting it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And the cracks in the season are starting to really show through right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know. I've found myself really disagreeing a lot of the times with how either the writing is or how the characters are
Portrayed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes they're not together in that sense. So I get lost in the translation of it, or even just how I see these characters.
Yeah.
So it just gets very muddled.
I'm trying really hard to be like, guys, this is what the show is trying to say. This is the metaphor. This is what they're saying. But this is where they're wrong. This is where they're not doing right. And this is how I would interpret it. And that's how I'm getting by this season.
Yeah. Yep. Anyway, so Zach and Janice are egging a house while Justin's deflating tire. Poor people. They didn't deserve that. Literally just
I think this is one of the points in the episode where what the writers were trying to communicate connected with me. Because
you also vandalize?
What? No.
You also vandalized? You connect with
No, they're trying to show that these guys are hoodlums and, jerks. And like, I also have no patience for... I'm not a hoodlum. I also have no patience for mailbox vandalism. the eggs in the tires, okay, that's annoying. But the mailbox, I'm old and I react to that. Triggered.
See, but the tire one really pissed me off, because if you have to go to work the next day and it's flat, I'd be so pissed off about that.
They honestly just look stupid. They're just like sitting there like waiting for the tire to like go down in air, and they're just like awkward sitting there talking. I was like, you guys just look like idiots right now. Like you're doing nothing with your life.
Then they run away like the big boys that they are, and then Janice asks Dawn what she thinks about Justin. She's like, oh, he's cute. And then the boys talk about the same thing. And then Justin's like, yeah, Dawn is cute. Okay, no one cares. And then I asked them if they're going to go all the way. Like the metaphor is just not really metaphoring. It's just like really blaringly obvious in this episode.
But at this point, we don't know they're vampires.
Yeah, but in retrospect, like we know what they are now. But like David and I were talking about this actually in the car, because we had a meeting for work, and then on the way back, David was talking about how he mentioned it first, and we were talking about how symbolism on its own, without having a good script and good characters, is really just like a cheaper way of trying to make it seem deeper than how it actually is. So like we were watching, not that I'm saying that's what this movie is at all. But we were watching Heathers last night, and each of the three Heathers and then Winona Ryder's character have a specific color that they wear. And do you care if I spoil something in the show?
No.
Movie?
Yeah, go ahead.
Spoilers for anyone who's listening. If you don't want to listen, just
spoilers for Heathers, everyone.
Just like move past a minute or something. So each of them have a different color, and then Winona Ryder's character kind of starts killing people in the movie. And then she like, I know, spoiler, everyone kind of knew that. But she killed like the main Heather who wears red. And then a Heather that wears green kind of takes over the role of the first Heather and starts wearing red the whole movie. But we don't really know much about like the second Heather's character. And so like the whole like them having specific colors to me just kind of felt a little bit flat, because I just was like, there's nothing really there below the surface to the colors. It's like there really was no reason for that. And then so it just kind of like sparked this conversation that Dave and I were talking about, because we're like, sometimes symbolism should be a cherry on top of the cake to a very flavorful cake. So like you should have either a movie, show, song that's really just like deep and it's like source material. And so adding symbolism on top of that adds more to the characters. It brings in more that you can learn about them. It's not, you shouldn't rely on that to make it seem like deep when it really isn't. So like giving them like colors for something, but then not actually like doing anything with it. Like, oh, this color, whatever. I don't know if that makes any sense, but we it was like a longer conversation than just that. So this kind of reminded me of it because I just was like, oh, like it's not really anything. Like this, like a quote unquote metaphor they're using for like sex and like vampires, not doing anything with it. So like in this episode, it falls flat because what they're doing with the characters isn't inherently that interesting to me. So the story itself and then like sexuality with vampires wasn't really explored that much in the episode. It just was like these horny teenagers that are also vampires in this episode.
I think we've just seen it done better. We've seen this
Exactly.
show do it so flipping well, specifically with Angelus, with surprise and innocence. And so this episode is just like, yeah, we know. And this is also our third episode, I think, where they're trying to tell us the Scoobies are frozen by their fears. They're not moving forward. They're scared to grow up. And we're like, we're now on the third episode of you showing us that or telling us that. And we're like, okay, let's move past that.
Yeah, agreed. Go back to the Summers house. We have Giles having this like heart to heart, or what he thinks is trying to be a heart to heart with Xander. And then us as the audience is seeing how freaked out Xander is in this conversation, to which I'm like, bruh. So we all were correct then. Like as an audience, we're sitting here being like, why isn't he saying anything about the engagement? Is he like not ready for marriage? And then as soon as he announces it, and then Anya, rightfully so, is like talking about it and is excited because he promised forever, and he's sitting there getting all green faced because she's talking about forever. I'm like, well then why'd you ask her to be forever with you? I'm confused.
Yeah, it's suddenly real now for him.
So okay, actually this is where I had the problem with Giles in the episode, because up to this point we haven't seen that green-facedness from Xander.
Yeah.
But then the questions Giles was asking him seemed really pointed to like try to make him nervous and try to make him freak out. And that combined with the conversations that he and Buffy had when they announced the engagement really seems like he's like trying to break them up, which is not cool.
Yeah, I get that. I think, again, this is just my frustration with how they're writing Giles this season. Is Giles as the adult is supposed to be that person. He's supposed to be the character that comes in and is like, hey, this is an adult decision. All right, let's move forward with this. Like, he's the one that's like, all right, Buffy, you need a job. Or I guess the Scoobies were like that. But he's like, all right, Buffy, like, what are you going to do with your life? That was his thing last episode. He's like, so Buffy, what are you going to do with your life? And she's like, I've been back from the dead like maybe 2 weeks. And so they're using Giles as kind of like the voice of adulthood to move people forward. But it's not coming across well because he either comes across as pushy or he's the one that he comes across as in this scene like, hey, are you sure you want to get married? Like, Anya's a former vengeance demon. I'm sure you'll enjoy many years of non-hell dimensional bliss. You're like, Giles, are you telling him not to get married to Anya? Like, what are you doing here? Giles was a bit confusing.
Yeah, everyone was just really weird this episode. I'm like, what is happening? What is in the air?
This party was the most awkward thing I've ever seen in the Scoobies. And they kept cutting back. And I was like, why is everyone here? It's almost like everyone's like, hey, we have to celebrate. Like they're trapped.
It's really weird. Anyway, back to the kids in the neighborhood. They say all these rumors about the old dude inside the house. They're like, oh, Janice, you go up there. And Janice like, no, I'm too scared. And Dawn's like, I'm not like the other girls. I'm going to go up there. I'm not scared. She walks up there, grabs the pumpkin, and the old man grabs her arm, which I'm like, again, if this man is like harmless, weird. What's weird to do? Like grabbing a teenage girl by the arm.
She's going to vandalize his property.
But he didn't seem to care. He laughs. I'm sorry, but like I'm not convinced he's like completely innocent here. Like, okay,
there was something very interesting going on because, well, then he invites them inside.
Yeah,
and they go inside.
What was going to happen?
Yeah, and then they're looking at the toys, and he apparently used to be a toy inventor. But there's something going on with this guy because he said, exactly. And I did it for years until the one mistake.
Yeah.
And they never say what the mistake was. We never find out. I was really interested. It's like, oh, there's something going on with this guy.
And then he like offers for like Sally end quote to help him, which I think is supposed to be Janice.
Mhm.
And then Justin offers, which I completely forgot he was like a vampire. So in my head, I was like, oh, that's actually kind of nice of him to offer. Because I was like, yeah, don't let the girl go in there alone with the old man. But never mind, he kills him and anyway.
This
Yeah.
poor man. They probably didn't mean anything other than
Right,
he's
but I
not
don't feel
mentally
bad.
well.
He's weird.
Yeah, he also kept calling himself Daddy.
Exactly. Andrew's on my side, Sarah.
Like he's
weird.
There was something going on there.
Exactly. I'm getting weirdo vibes from him. He's watching the children from his kitchen. He like asked Sally question mark. What if Sally's one of the dolls? He didn't mess up. He meant to say Sally.
This guy's
Ooh.
actually a serial killer, and Sally's like, dead and buried in the backyard. And
He speaks Sally, his first wife.
Justin actually was a good guy for taking this guy out. So that's what we're going to go with.
Yeah.
We make our own fun on these episodes where we just don't understand.
See, there is nuance in this episode.
Yeah, maybe this episode is really complex. Oh. Anyway, so Don's like, oh, I hear a noise. I'm going to go step into the kitchen because, again, I'm not scared. And then Justin runs out and he's like, I stole his wallet. And they're like, oh my gosh, we're so crazy. Let's run out. No one has ever done this before. We just robbed him.
Not like he didn't just see our faces, knows our names.
And know exactly who we are.
Well, actually, no, he doesn't. He thinks they're Sally, so maybe they are fine.
We're like, don't forget, Sally stole your wallet.
Yeah.
And then as they're running out, Justin's like, ew, he was nasty. Can't believe I ate him. And then Zach is like, oh, we should go all the way and turn the girls. And so this is when the audience is supposed to gasp and be like, all
the way. Oh my gosh. This entire time for the entire series, whenever someone's bit someone, they mean something else.
Oh my gosh, that's so genius. How come I never...
Literally. I'm not going to say which episode, but I think that this whole concept, a bite versus something else, would have been used way better in a different episode later on this season.
Okay. We're definitely not going to remember that in the moment, but
I know what you're talking about.
Do you, Andrew? Do you?
No.
All right, back at the Summers house, we have Anya going on and on about their life together. Xander looks more and more terrified.
Okay, so this is so frustrating because Xander's obviously freaking out over the massive decision he just decided to solidify, which, dude, Anya seemed
7 months ago.
Totally fine with having a relationship with you that didn't involve marriage until after you proposed. None of this is Anya's fault.
No one asked that. Yeah.
Right. The problem is the show wants you to see Xander's response as him being afraid to grow up. And like, this is what we talked about, a couple episodes ago about how like marriage doesn't equal adulthood. Marriage doesn't equal maturity. Like just because you're married doesn't mean you're mature, And so they're trying to say that, Xander's not ready for adulthood because he's not ready for marriage. Well, I think it's actually really reasonable for him to be sitting there having doubts. I think he needs to talk about it with Anya, but, so he's feeling overwhelmed just like Buffy. And it's the same way they want us to view Willow's use of magic as trying to take the easy way out of life. The thing is that these things are not comparable. Buffy died, is still adjusting to everything, is PTSD, is depressed. Xander may not be handling it well by proposing to Anya before he's ready, but him not wanting to get married, not a bad thing. The only thing that I agree with in this episode is Willow. Willow for sure fits with the metaphor, but nobody else really does.
Mm-hmm. And just more awkwardness between all of them, just actively wanting to move on from any time they're all together in the same room in this episode. It just felt like the gang was not ganging. The plot was not really plotting. People were being weird.
This scene where Anya says, I know I'm the luckiest ex-demon in the world to be able to find the one person in all dimensions that I was meant to be with and have everything work out just the way I dreamed. How often does the universe allow that to happen? The script says she hugs Xander close, not seeing how her words have hit Buffy right in the angel parallel. Buffy and Xander eye each other, both feeling the need to escape. So this is what I mean by the show actively bringing up Angel. So this moment, Buffy's thinking about the fact that she found the one person that in all of the dimensions that she was meant to be with, and she's not able to be with them. And that's why she ultimately decides to leave and go to the crypt with Spike.
Yep.
Andrew's like, oh, you didn't just pull that out of your butt. It's actually in the episode. Hey, I come with receipts, Andrew. You're new to this whole thing, but I actually do have.
He's like,
do know what I'm talking about.
He's like,
Yeah, I was super frustrated by Xander in this whole section. I mean, just because. Yeah, exactly. Like he already proposed, and he somehow didn't think about the fact that involves a very long relationship, or that there might be babies involved.
There's the possibility of babies.
Never thought about
when you get married. Yeah. If you're not ready for babies, that is totally fine and normal. Very fine, Xander, to have feelings of not wanting to have kids right now or ever. But if you're going to propose, you absolutely need to be talking about all this stuff before that, because when you propose, that means that, we've talked about every possible scenario, because we're going to be living together and spending the rest of our lives together if I propose to you. So that means that we've discussed everything that we need to discuss, because marriage is a big deal.
And you keep talking about it.
Exactly. So it's like him being like white-faced as soon as she talks about babies. It's like, what do you think would happen by proposing and getting married? Like, I'm just confused. If you don't want to have kids, then talk about it. You know what I mean? But then that also should have been discussed before you propose. So it's like, I don't feel bad for you.
Yeah,
I just like, I'm mad at you.
Yeah, don't go outside and to get some air because you feel like you're trapped. Like, talk about it.
Yeah, literally. Just annoying. Anyway, he goes outside to get air with Buffy.
They're both like, yay, life. This is so great. This is the way life's supposed to be. Clearly not loving it.
He says this is, in quote, a lot. What do you mean? You've been engaged this entire time. Nothing has changed.
Yep.
It's just that everyone knows. What is a lot? I'm confused. And then Buffy's like, hey, I'm going to go patrol. Both of them kind of at their breaking point, but Xander kind of has to take a deep breath and go back in. And then Buffy leaves. Back in the neighborhood with the teenagers, Justin asks Dawn how old she is, and she's like, oh, I'm a freshman. And then he gives her money from the wallet, so he just gave her money out of his pocket, or did he actually steal it?
More giving than Anya.
True.
No,
she gets paid for
Anya threw like a bunch of bills
true.
at Dawn earlier.
Right.
She did throw the money. Okay, I take it all back. Yeah. No, that actually was pretty sweet.
Andrew's
that moment.
like, I remembered something. His little smug face.
No, well, that's what I'm saying. Anya's the only person who didn't do anything wrong in the episode.
No, you're right, Andrew. You're correct.
Thank you.
Might as well take my spot then, Andrew. You twist my arm, take my spot in the podcast. You know more about the show than I.
I watched the episode literally right before we started.
So did I, but I forgot about that. So it gives Dawn money. And this would be weird. I'm like, I'm not receiving money from my crush. That's just odd behavior.
The script says he smiles shyly. If this kid weren't a vamp, we'd be rooting for these two to hook up. Would we? Would we?
Let's not speak for everyone here.
Who's
just
we? Script
killed someone and stole money.
Does
maybe
that
not.
also mean if he wasn't a vampire and everything about him changed? Would be rooting for him, but
he also doesn't really like Dawn. It's pretty much obvious he just wants to like hook up with her. So like, what do you mean? We're rooting for what here?
This is a show that's trying to push Spike and Buffy together too, guys. So I'm not sure.
Spoilers, Sarah. Spoilers.
I don't think anyone's surprised by that at this point.
Then she's like cold. He gives her his Letterman jacket. And then Janice is like, oh, Zach went to go get the car. And then they're like, you guys have a car? Aren't you supposed to be like 17? And then we see Zach steal a car from a guy that he killed.
It's a woman, but yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a woman.
Oh. My
How
bad.
dare you.
Sorry, lady.
Tabby just does not care about victims in this episode at all.
To be honest, it just was like a toss in the ground. I just assumed it was a man because women can't drive. I'm just kidding.
Later on, they show the lady with a neck wound and her hair's like
This
falling
is a feminist
around
show,
it.
you guys.
Oh, that
Women
was
can
the same
drive.
person?
Yeah, it's the same person that Buffy comes across. They're
Oh.
I didn't put that together either.
Oh boy.
Hey, well, with our powers
Hey guys,
combined,
guess what? I watched this episode 2 days ago.
Good for you.
Yes.
So, woohoo.
you have an amazing memory. So
This is fun having Andrew here. Anyway, where are we at? Oh, yeah.
Well, Buffy's watching the trick-or-treaters and spots this. The episode says, or the script says, she spots a couple sharing a kiss. Time slows and the sound of the crowd fades as she eyes them with longing.
I do empathize with Buffy and having that feeling of like longing for like a relationship or just like in a different place in life. That's a natural thing to like kind of like want to be in a different place in life than where you are currently. Like that is a natural train of thought. It's also just hard because it's like she hasn't been single for that long and she's also 20. So I'm like, babe, you have so much life to live. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if that's insensitive, but I'm also like, there's just so much that you have to look forward to. And I do understand that the parallel specifically with Angel, which makes it a little bit better because like Angel is her soulmate. So like I can understand that pain of like, it's not like I just like lost somebody. We love each other and we can't be together, which is a different type of level. You know, it's not just like a breakup. It's like, oh, we like loved each other and we couldn't be together because of supernatural reasons, you know, like we, you know. So I think it is a bit of a difference, but I'm also like, you're so young, girl. Like you're 20, you know?
watching the episode, I did pick up on the references to Angel, but I didn't see it as a major theme throughout the episode.
Mm.
So is that what the episode is trying to do? Comparing Buffy, you know, remembering and longing for the relationship she had with Angel and trying to find something to fill that void. And on the other hand, you have Dawn, who is also going out and starting a relationship with a vampire. And is that part of Dawn's character arc here, that she thinks she's following in Buffy's footsteps of this vampire relationship dynamic or something?
Good questions, because that's not really that clear to me either, to be honest.
I think, honestly, that they were simply just having all of this happen to show that Buffy's not being responsible for Dawn. And they decided to be a little funny and be like, hey, let's have Dawn also, her first big romantic whatever is with a vampire, and just kind of like, isn't that funny kind of thing. I don't think they were trying to make any bigger of a message other than Dawn is Buffy's responsibility, and Buffy being distracted means she's shirking her duty in that. I think, honestly, it's not that deep. I think it's Dawn. They just didn't know what to do with Dawn, and they needed Dawn to be the center of this episode. And so
they drew some parallels here and there contextually to Buffy and Angel.
And by having Dawn pursue a vampire, even though she doesn't know it's a vampire, is supposed to call
like an homage,
a parallel to, it's an homage, but it's also a parallel to what Buffy is doing or attempting to do before she gets sidetracked.
Sure. No, I agree with you, Sarah. I don't think it's supposed to be like a huge parallel to Angel and Buffy's relationship in general, but there are some nods to it and showing that Buffy's not in a place where she's with the love of her life. And so she like is trying to find something, a
connection.
Like that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Something to fill the void. Yep.
Yeah. Agreed. Oh yeah. Back at the Summers residence, we have Giles answering the phone from Janice's mom. And she's like, hey, is Janice there? And he's like, nope. And then they kind of figured out the switcheroo thing. I'm like, wow, this plan just backfired immediately.
I love how he goes, no, Dawn told us she was spending the night at your house. And then we hear, yes, I realize that now, but I don't believe you called to check in either. I was like, Giles and his boundaries. I was like,
literally.
I love it.
Yeah.
And it's especially funny when you think about the fact that Giles used to be the librarian at the high school. And it's possible that Janice had an older sibling and Giles, like.
Sarah, I was about to say, I was like, this conversation, these boundaries, this is a teacher speaking. Like, no, for real. Giles walks in, everyone's dancing. Twitchy turns off the music. Everyone meeting 3 people. Poor Tara just sitting on the couch. I'm like, this is so glaringly obvious, Willow. Like, what are you doing? This is freaking weird. This is so weird. I actively hate this scene so much. I'm so uncomfortable. Also, knowing that the actors have 0 music in these scenes actually kills me. Oh, man. Giles tells Willow and Tara to check downtown, Anya and Xander to stay at the house, and then he's going to go to Spike to kind of catch Buffy.
And Giles is so peeved right now that he has to step in and be the adult.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, how dare he have to like do all this stuff when, you know, Buffy's only been alive for 3 weeks now.
No, really. True.
This season just wants us to take these things so seriously, and I'm like, may I remind you, Buffy was dead not even a month earlier.
We did the math for last episode, and it had been at most 2 weeks. So this is probably like what, maybe 3-4 weeks tops.
Yeah, I refuse to believe it's been even maybe longer than a week, because Giles is crashing on their couch. There's no way he'd be staying there for like a month. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So like everyone being like, oh, Buffy is shirking her responsibilities. I'm like, she's still like a foot in the ground at this point. Like
she still has 1 foot in the grave.
Yeah, literally. Like
she's only 20, guys.
She is not amongst us mentally or emotionally. So it's like, let's just let her kind of chill for a bit. Like if she doesn't want to be a parent immediately, that's okay. Like let's let her ease into that responsibility. She's trying to be a human being.
Okay, so I do think the situation is different though, because she is actually Dawn's legal guardian, and that does mean that she has responsibility for Dawn. So Giles is technically correct, but she needs help. It's an unfair situation that people have to actually live with in real life. But Giles's response, while understandable in him wanting to encourage Buffy to take that responsibility, and Buffy's behavior being non-admirable and trying to just hoist it all off onto Giles, like that being the case, like Buffy still obviously needs help, and Giles could and has been that for Buffy in the past.
All right, guys, my favorite scene in the whole episode. I'm just joking. It's actually so painfully uncomfortable.
Andrew's eyebrows went all the way up to his hairline.
He thought I was big for real.
Which is getting more and more impressive every day.
Such a dad joke. I can't. Oh my word, guys. Okay.
This is very realistic.
I was literally about to say that, Sarah. I was like,
the leather creaking.
I have
no
been
other
in these
sound.
situations. She is so me, though. In these situations, it cannot be silent. There needs to be music. There needs to be something. She's like, "Oh, does this play music?" I'm like, "Me," because like, if it's so quiet when you're kissing, it's like the smacking is too much. Like I actually can't do it, and then having to watch actors do it, like I was like, my whole body was like rejecting it. I was sitting here going, oh, and like Michelle Trachtenberg did such a good job of making it look like it was her first time kissing, because it just looked so like unnatural the way that they were kissing. Oh, I couldn't.
I cracked up when she says it's cold, and I'll talk about that in a second. There's a reason why she keeps saying it's cold. And then Justin's like, nah, the cold doesn't really bother me. I was like, okay, Elsa. All right then. Yeah, no, this scene was so realistic. The leather creaking, the silence, everything. I just was like, this is realistic.
I do. Oh, there's like when she says like, I just don't know what you expect. I was like, oh, that's like, yeah. And like his like dead fish face that I can't stand when like when guys are about to kiss you, most of them do this like dead fish eye look before they like go in, and it actually gets me the ick. I can't do it. The build-up is crazy. But Andrew's
over there
I'm
like,
trying to think. I don't know if I do that or not. I'll have to ask Sarah later.
But he's a vampire, so at least he dies at the end of the episode. Not that anyone that would do this deserves to die. I'm just saying. This
Tabby
episode,
just like is a hater on everyone who dies this episode. She's like, deserved it.
Well,
he needed it.
He
probably had something coming.
Sarah, he literally killed an old man and robbed him.
You were just defending him killing the old man.
Okay,
20
two things.
Two
things can be true. Two things can exist at the same time and be accurate. The old man can be kind of creepy, and also this teenager should not be killing people.
All right, let's move to the bronze. Let's move to the bronze because this is where it starts to get juicy. This is juicy stuff here. Okay, so I want to point out the bronze is such a specific place for them to go to, and it reminds us of the gang's childhood. They spent a lot of their teen years in the bronze, and we haven't seen it. Like, I think this might be the first time this season. And this conversation with Willow is such a callback to her in Halloween and her wanting to put on a costume to hide herself and her past shy and geeky self. And then in Restless, we have the whole fear of her being afraid of people taking off her costume and seeing her for who she really is. And then we have fear itself with Willow coming into her own as a witch and being afraid of being out of control of her magics and afraid that everybody will leave her. And then we talked about this in Who Are You? But Music, Sound, and Silence mentions that the bronze is a very specific and unique place for Willow's character development, in particular to even with Tara. It was the place that she introduced the gang to Tara for the first time. The bronze plays a big role in Willow's identity and how she perceives herself and how she desires to be perceived. So Willow's always wanted to be seen as cool, not geeky and stuff. And in that episode, when she introduces Tara to everyone in the bronze, Tara's like, wow, this is really cool. And you can see that look on Willow's face of like, I've made it. Like, Tara thinks I'm cool. And so like her coming back and like her conversation to Tara in this moment about how she isn't that nerdy girl anymore and her desire to like be seen as someone who's powerful and all that stuff. Willow's use of magic here and on other people feels like her enjoying magic for the sake of power. Because she's like, hey, I'm not that person anymore. Let me exhibit that power. And look, now I can control all these people who used to look down on me, who used to see me as not very cool. And it's very interesting to me.
I mean, this whole like having everyone who's not a 15-year-old girl go in a different dimension is crazy. That's crazy.
No. Yeah. Tara being like, what? I was like, I echo this.
For real.
This is where the show actually started to make its valid point about Willow going too far with the magic.
Yeah, this one's
but went like all the way to 15. The last thing she did was put up some streamers and made solo cups. And now she's shifting people into another dimension when like she could have just made an illusion for herself, like make Dawn glow in my vision, Didn't have to affect anyone else.
Mm-hmm. I feel like there was a simpler method to this. Have them glow. Just have like the people who are 15 glow. Or like, I don't know, shine a spotlight on the people that are 15. Like there's just so many things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Tara's saying, what would Giles say? See, this is why I think that there was a conversation that was skipped.
Which I wish we had.
Yes. And the script says Willow's face turns dark. Tara has just pushed a big red button. And then that's when Willow tells everything to be silent.
Okay, let me speak into this for a second. There are some things about Willow that I relate with. And hopefully not the really, really negative parts, but I think that Willow, because there's been a lot of humiliation growing up feeling awkward. I was never a geek or anything like that, but like I have never liked to be perceived in any sense. Positively, like I hate like attention on my birthday. It truly makes me I can't do it. Like, or just like any sort of being perceived in general, it makes me uncomfortable. I think that's a middle child thing. I just didn't like it. I liked flying out of the radar. I like doing what I want to do. I like my own boundaries. I like the quiet. I like to be around people and be in a group setting where we're all having fun together. Love that. If the attention at any point is on me and everyone stops talking and I'm speaking, I want to die. Like, I can't do that. That's not me. And so I think with Willow, she has a similar feeling, but hers more comes from like humiliation because she was bullied a lot in high school. So for her, she's immensely triggered in this moment because she thinks that Tara is like talking behind her back about something that she disagrees with Willow, with somebody like Giles, who is like a father figure. And she knows that Giles really disagrees with the way that she handles magic. So it's like hitting this sore spot for her. And because she's felt like she has successfully created this relationship with Tara where she doesn't feel like that old Willow. So I think that she's getting deeply triggered. And Giles was her teacher during that time. So I think this is hitting a lot of different wounds at the same time. And so, not that I agree with Willow, I'm just saying this is good writing. Because I'm sitting here and I'm like,
I agree.
I could feel this like wound being reopened in this moment. Not that it's accurate that she should be getting mad at her, because Tara's like, no, I didn't talk to Giles, like, but I think there is some validity in what he said, sort of thing. But she's immediately in her unhealthy state that she's been sitting in is like jumping to that conclusion. And I think for someone who understands Willow, I felt that for her, but again, I don't agree if that makes sense.
Yeah. The character development makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then this moment where she says, Tara says, Willow, you're using too much magic. What do you want me to do? Just sit back and keep my mouth shut. And Willow said, that be a good start. That is a trigger for Tara as well, because her family trying to silence her for years. Like this, again, this is good writing because you're seeing them both push each other's buttons intentionally and otherwise. It's just hard to watch. I also like that Tara undoes the spell that Willow put up, the silence spell, showing us and reminding us that she could do this stuff too if she wanted to, but she's doing things the way they're supposed to be done, not just taking the easy way out.
Oh, really? I missed that.
Willow puts up the silencing spell and Tara's the one that undoes it as she leaves.
Oh, that was cool.
And then back in the car, still making out. He bites a lip. It was hard. She touches his face. It's like, oh, a vampire. Okay. And then in the crypt, we have Buffy walking in, and I just love how that she just never knocks. What if he was doing unspeakable things in there? That'd be just incredibly uncomfortable. The TV's on, no Spike, then Spike pops up, and the tension is just like really thick. Like, this is the first time, like earlier there was like a little bit. This one, it's like pretty obvious, like there's something unsaid here, you know? So Buffy gets supplies from the coffin, and then they leave. And this part, I mean, Anthony's like head is just really good at physical comedy. He trips over the air, and then he like makes a comment. He's like, Miss Cemetery Halloween should end well. I'm like, for real. He bumps into Zach, who's feeding on Janice, punches him away, and then I love how he just like gets, pummeled by Zach and then kills him, and then asks like Janice like, oh, where's Dawn? And Janice like holding her neck like, I don't know. I almost got killed.
I love how he pushes Zach away, and Janice is like, he bit me. That jerk bit me. Zach's like you weren't asking for it. And then Giles, our feminist king, is like, I'm fairly certain she wasn't. And he's like, what do you know about it, Grandpa? And then Giles is like, quite a bit, actually. And then just like holds his own. I was like, man, Giles. Leah would have loved this.
Great Giles scene.
Dawn runs out of the car. Justin follows, and he's like, well, you're not like other girls, and I just want to hang out. And then apparently that works on her, and she's gonna let him bite her? Question mark. I'm like, baby girl, come on, stand up, like, get up, girl. Like, he's embarrassing.
Giles like, bet you say that to all the girls. I was like, Giles, you're just killing it. Literally, this episode is so good. The thing is that what ends up happening, and this is sad, is Justin finds out that Dawn is the sister of the Slayer, and he's like, oh, that's what it is. And I think that might be part of what breaks the spell for Dawn, is realizing that it's not because she's special or anything. It's because she's just the sister of the Slayer.
Oh. That's sad.
Yeah, it was sad. Felt bad for her.
Spike and Buffy show up right as like a whole crowd of vampires show up as well. Buffy's like, is anyone here just here to like park and make out? And these two random people are just like, us. I mean, that'd be me. If I saw a whole crowd of people, I'd probably walk out there too. Like, what are we looking at?
You know, this is honestly so smart of the vampires, and they should do this more often, is find a person to go make out with, go take them here, turn them into a vamp, and bam, now you have a whole colony of vampires.
No, literally. And they all can go like together.
Yeah, everybody has a friend or a romantic partner.
Yeah. Not everyone is consensual in this, but they're all in it together.
Sucks to be you.
Yeah.
Literally.
They all start fighting. Everyone has their people. Dawn kicks Justin in the groin, good for her, and then runs.
I like this fighting scene.
Giles stakes two back to back, good for him.
Buffy decapitates one with a car door.
Oh yeah, by the door.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was cool. I love when we have unique kills. And then even when Spike is like fighting that one dude, he's like getting mad at him because he's like, we have rules as vampires. Like, you take a break on Halloween.
Is rich
He
because
didn't.
one of the first episodes that Spike was on the show, he goes after the Slayer on Halloween.
Yep.
Like, come on, Spike.
You're
He's like,
so
you're
right.
giving a lot of us a bad name. And you're like, Spike, you've been doing that since season 2. Like,
In fact, he loved breaking the rules. Like, he did that literally actively in season 2. Actively.
well, that's what he says. He says, I'm a rebel, you're an idiot. Okay, Spike.
Yeah. He's just so different. He's not like the other
He's not like other
vampires.
girls.
Yeah.
Just like Justin.
Yeah. Justin tackles Dawn to the ground. Again, the metaphors here are just becoming really obvious here. He pins her to the ground, and then she goes, I thought you really liked me. He's like, I do. And you like me too. She's like, I do. And then sticks him.
We don't talk enough about Dawn's trauma. Like, say what you will, this would be traumatizing.
I've been trying. I have been an advocate for her
It's-
trauma for seasons.
It's her, Angel getting killed by Buffy.
No,
season
no,
2
no, no,
moment.
we are not.
This is formative for her. It's
One
gonna-
night is not the same.
She's gonna,
2 years.
I mean-
a little bit of spoilers here, but she's gonna spend the next 2 seasons just like lamenting the lost relationship she could have had
Of Justin.
With Justin.
Justin or Josh or whatever his name was.
What's that TikTok? Ew, brother, ew.
What's that, brother?
Ew. Yeah, I really do think they are trying to. I mean, the whole then Buffy being like, you were parking with a vamp, and she's like, not like you haven't done it before. And then Buffy says that was different, and Dawn's like, it always is with you. It's like, well, yes, it literally was different, Dawn. I hate that. I hate the show keep trying to like be revisionist and be like, oh my gosh, Buffy was dating a vampire. It's like, yes, she was, but it was more than that, you guys. And you sold us on that. So stop trying to gaslight us and make it out that it wasn't
It was
something.
like a huge dilemma too for so freaking long.
Yeah,
like-
literally. Like, I can go back and watch those 3 seasons, guys.
So what was that commercial in the 90s with like against drugs? It's like, I learned it from you, Dad. It was that moment.
It's back at the Summers residence. We have Buffy apologizing for leaving to Anya and Xander, and then Anya's like, no, it's cool, I started playing the Bachelorette, to which Xander just wants to leave literally immediately. He's like, please, can we stop talking about all this? And she's like, oh my gosh, we should get male strippers. And he's like, Anya. And then she's like, we'll talk, don't worry about it. And then Tara is just very cold. She's like, I'm happy she's good, but I'm gonna go to bed now. Giles icing his face, and then Buffy kind of skirts her responsibility of being a parental figure and is like, Giles, you're gonna talk to her, right? Don't be too hard on her. Okay, bye. I do think this is the one moment in the episode where I am on the side of Buffy should be talking to Dawn
Yeah.
rather than
Yeah.
Giles.
Mhm.
I don't hate the idea of Giles talking to Dawn, because I do think that maybe she would view it as more serious if Giles did talk to Dawn, but I think that should be secondary if she didn't take it seriously from Buffy talking to her. But I think it is like, especially like since Dawn doesn't see the difference between Angel and Buffy and this dude, I think it would be important for Buffy to talk to Dawn, kind of go through again what the difference was between those two and how it actually wasn't sunshine and flowers. Like, are we forgetting about a lot of the plot in season 3? How like the gang and Giles like actively was not happy that Buffy was getting back together with Angel, even though he did have a soul, and Xander has never been pro Angel. So it's not been like sunshine and rainbows with Angel and Buffy's relationship. So I think it would be important to kind of have that conversation, be like, you know what, like there is a bit of a difference, but even still then it was really incredibly complicated and nuanced, and it was still very difficult because he was a vampire, and there is a reason why we aren't together anymore, because he is a vampire. Like vampires are just very complicated, and even still then, like he had a soul, you know?
Yeah, but then let's also talk about, hey, you shouldn't lie to us. Hey, you shouldn't be out.
Oh, absolutely.
Hey, like, there's just a lot that needed to happen here, and that's a lot for Giles to have to handle.
Yeah, there's a lot that Buffy could have said that would have been very helpful to speak into that conversation where Dawn was right then. Could have been. Well, it probably could have been better than Giles saying that he's mad at Dawn.
So yeah, then we kind of end the episode with that continuous argument with Willow and Tara upstairs, to which Willow just half-assedly apologizes in a way so that she wouldn't have like so much heat on her. She's like, well, I'm sorry. Like, what else do you want me to say? Sort of argument. I'm like, how old are we? Like, for real? Like, you're not going to hear her out and understand where you're like she's coming from. You cannot mess with people and put them in different. Like, if one small thing went wrong, that's dozens of people that are stuck in a different dimension. It's not hard for you to realize how wrong that is. Anyway,
yeah. Well,
clearly
even then she was making the conversation was still all about how Tara had a problem with Willow doing magic and completely bypassed the really hateful thing that she had just said to Tara back at the Bronze.
True. Yeah, forgot that. Yeah, true. So honestly, like we've never seen Tara get to this level of anger towards Willow, and this is 100% warranted on multiple levels. I would want to talk about it too. I'm like, you were so quick to be nasty to me with your words, like so quick. Like it was immediate. That would be so concerning to me.
And instead of being like, I'm so sorry I hurt your feelings, it's like, hey, I'm just going to, how about I reverse time and take it back? Like making the problem even worse by doubling down.
Sometimes I feel like Willow feels inferior to Tara's goodness.
Possibly. Like, I mean, she's deeply insecure.
Yeah. Like Tara's just to her core a good person, just morally very good, like there for people, very sweet, like has a good head on her shoulders, has gone through a lot of trauma outside of her interactions with the gang, so she has a lot of life experience as well, and like just is a very healthy person. So I really do feel like Willow gets triggered by Tara in a lot of ways because I think that she feels inferior. And so this is my headcanon. I just think that sometimes, like, again, like this whole like growing up really just like feeling very powerless and not important and all these sort of things, and then being in a relationship with somebody who didn't see that side of you. And so anytime you feel like you're under the like microscope, it can be very triggering, because also Tara is like, she's not flawless, but she's like pretty close to it in a TV show. And like, I do feel like it kind of triggers Willow a bit. And she overcompensates with magic.
When you know you're being nasty, or when you know that you're kind of maybe crossing lines and boundaries and stuff, if you're insecure, you find as you become more insecure, you find yourself like tripping up and making more mistakes and doing and overcompensating and just making it worse simply because you either don't want to recognize that there's a problem or you're just trying to mask everything. And I think that's what a part of what Willow's doing here. But then she makes it so that Tara forgets.
This is such a betrayal to like a level that I could not get past if I were Tara. Like, this is a violation on so many levels.
It's interesting because she's doing magic to make her life easier. And this is what we've been talking about for seasons, where Willow doesn't like hard emotions, doesn't like it when things feel gross and icky, and doesn't like to work through it. And so she often tries to just move past it or forget that it didn't happen or whatever. And this is a very like real ramification of that. It's interesting that it would justify this in the same way that she did with the party favors. Oh, it makes Tara happy because she doesn't remember. It makes me happy. So what's the harm? And this move effectively makes her no better than the trio at this point, who have also used magic to control people in order to make life easier on themselves. It's obviously incredibly horrible given what Glory did to Tara last season and how Tara's own family has manipulated her. Markfield says Willow isn't treating Tara as an equal, as a subject, but as an object to be manipulated for her own convenience. She's treating Tara no better than Warren treated April. And I would argue she's acting no better than Tara's family as well, who completely lied to her for years about her being a demon. Mm-hmm. That's big stuff.
It is. It's very heavy.
I think we can all relate to the desire when you do mess up so catastrophically in a relationship that you wish it could just all not have happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But wishing that something had not had happened is very different from wishing that the other person would just forget about it. You know, that's a very selfish thing. Because in that, well, I mean, in a relationship when you need to apologize, like the other person isn't necessarily wishing that it hadn't have happened. They want to know that it's not going to happen again.
The last bit of dialogue is really interesting. So I mentioned that like Don said several times to Justin, I'm cold, or he said, you're cold. And he put like a jacket on her. And while they were making out, like several times, I'm cold, I'm cold. In this moment, as Willow gets into bed, Tara says, ooh, your feet are cold. And Willow says, better warm me up. So this last bit of dialogue is very interesting because like, again, Justin's a vampire. He's frozen in time. He says, the cold doesn't bother me. Willow never said that the cold bothered her at all. It's Tara who mentions it. And Willow's like, all right, you should warm me up. I think what they're trying to do is the show is comparing Willow's behavior to that of the vampire, of Justin. Her casting the forgetting spell is her not wanting to change her behavior and to grow, which is the staple of vampirism. In behaving this way, Willow, Xander, and Buffy are becoming the thing that they have fought against for 6 seasons now. They're becoming their own villains by not moving forward. And this whole idea of being cold also ties into, a little bit of spoilers, the main song that Buffy sings in the next episode, where Buffy says, I touch the fire and it freezes me. She feels nothing. And so the show, again, using the metaphor of vampires and the cold to show stasis and a lack of feeling. And I mean, I just think it speaks volumes by Willow being like, better warm me up. And like the cold doesn't bother Willow, but it bothers Tara. Tara's just not fully aware of everything at this point. I just thought that was very interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's deep.
Okay.
I'm not being sarcastic. I was about to be. I was about to say you brought it around, redeemed the whole episode. Not quite to that level, but that is really interesting. I'm interested to see where that goes in the rest of the season. The concept of like, you know, building up the vampires are stuck where they're at this whole time, and now it's the Scoobies stuck, so they're becoming their own villains.
Yeah. Well, on making a very clear comparison with the vampires in this episode and Willow, but also Willow and the trio is very interesting. And then also the stuff that Buffy's doing. I don't know. In theory, I really like what they're trying to do with season 6 because it's really good television and it's a good place to take your characters when they become the thing that they've been fighting against. When the metaphor starts to turn and you make your characters the one that are like the vampires and stuck. And I think that's interesting. I don't really like the way that they're fully handling it.
Agreed.
All right, guys, we did it. We got through this episode. I was going to say that like one of the worst episodes of season 6, but that is not true at all.
This is probably just the most unlike a Buffy episode in tone. I don't know. Maybe
I think there's other
characters. Yeah.
It's just not, it's not super great, but you know what? You guys made it fun. You made it enjoyable. Andrew, thanks for jumping in and talking with us. You made it more fun.
Popped his cherry on the podcast. You
Oh
guys
my
have to witness
gosh.
it.
You're gonna make him turn sober. Look how red he is.
How was it, Andrew? Did you have fun?
Did you like it? We
Okay.
went all the
All
way
right.
this
I was
time.
gonna say thanks for having me.
All right.
All right, I'm done. Well, I guess I have to see you guys later.
All right, guys, let us know your thoughts on this episode. Do you like it? Do you not like it? I don't know. What do you guys think of some of the things that they're trying to do with Willow and Tara? Do you guys think that they missed a couple steps? Do you think that it's organic? I'd be really curious to hear your guys' thoughts. What do you guys think they were trying to do with Dawn in this episode? I think there's a lot of different things that we can guess at. But yeah, you can find us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Tumblr at Becoming Buffy Podcast. You can email us at becomingbuffypodcast@gmail.com. If you would like to support us and listen to our spoiler episodes for past episodes, bonus episodes, as well as future episodes, you can join our Buy Me a Coffee membership at buymeacoffee.com/becomingbuffy. Special shout out and thank you to our producers, Kashaan, Christine, Paul, Kate, and Tara. Thank you to all the rest of our listeners, and we will talk to you all next time.